37. I think I'm back on track now. Day 37. So, day 37 is when I decided to be more serious about my business life. And so I entered business school. Business school, that was my most favorite time in school. It was. That same year, it was 2006, and I started. Um, and I watched. It was beautiful on my end and on the school's end because the school was transitioning as well. They were upgrading their accreditation. So when I came in through their process of accreditation, which was a lot, and I enjoyed watching them go through that. The president um, of that particular campus, he was pretty cool. He was cool. He really was. Um, he fell in. I'm gonna get this. Okay, so he fell in love with my sister and I because I started school first, and then she came afterwards. She started after we lost our niece. She was our first niece, I think. Yeah, she was our first one. And she was only 6 months. And she left with SIDS. They did an autopsy because, um, well, when you in the black community and in you living in a very low income, and if the people who are around you are not the ideal people, of course they're going to have their suspicions. Um, so, yeah, they did an autopsy and come to find out it was just like we said, crib death, SIDS. And so my sister, she died at my sister's house. Not the sister that's the mother, but the other sister. And those two sisters, they are right after me. They're only 10 months apart. They could have been twins. But anyway, she died at her house. So she needed something to get off her mind. So um, we chatted, and I said, why don't you try school? Because there were other things that she could have chosen. And so I didn't want her to choose any of those things. And being the eldest, of course, I made it my duty. I made it my duty to guide her towards education. Well, she appreciated that. And I appreciated that she listened. It is not so much that, I wanted her to get in and find something to do, and do that particular thing. It was mainly as a way of helping her mind to process on other things so that she can have the time she needed to heal, to process that. Because someone else's child not making it in your home, that's a scary situation. And nothing happened, nobody did anything. It was proven that nothing happened, that she really just did die crib death, which is very common in my family. Um, my father was the eldest of one, two, three, four, five kids, five of them. But he was not the firstborn. There was a daughter that was born before he was. She passed at 6 months. I did not find that out until my grandmother, his mother, passed. And it came up in conversation about now she gets to be with her little girl. I did not find out the name of this child because no one, when I started asking questions, no one would talk. They would just shut down because they was not aware that I was actually paying attention. And when my grandmother passed, I think I was 21, 22, something like that. So, yeah, of course I'm going to ask. Um, I'm the informative one. I need to know. So, yeah. And on my mother's side of the family, it's kind of common for that to happen. So, I wanted my sister She was very fragile. They both were. The one who was the mother, she was very fragile. She, until this day, it still bothers her on the anniversary dates. It bothers all of us. But I kind of coddle her more. If she ends up just being a brat for the sake of keeping it clean, um, I just let her be a brat. I might fuss about a minute, but about a minute or two. Let her know, hey, we're still here. Yes, that did happen, but yeah, you're still here, and we're still here, and we still have to deal with one another. So yeah. But anyway, but like I tell Mama, I said I don't fuss that much, in particularly during those times because I know it's a very sensitive moment for her during that time because she lost her child and that was the only one she ever wanted. She ever only ever wanted one. And she was able to live with that one for let me see, no, 6 months. We had her for 6 months and she was gone, so and she's not having any more. But yeah, so it was very touchy. So anyway, we went to we she ended up going with me. I started that May of the year um, when she was born, when the baby was born. And she died like that November, and my sister started school that December. Yeah. Now the one who's the mother, she was doing hair and she did hospitality. Um, she is so awesome with those. I mean, she's been doing natural hair, but she could do perms and stuff like that, but she prefers doing natural hair. She's been doing that for over 30 years. And she's also been doing hospitality. When I tell you, this girl, I thought she was telling a tale. I thought she was just stretching the truth, but she was not. When she would come home and say that people were dropping her tips like anywhere from 100 to 300 some dollars. I was like, yeah, right. I went and I watched, and she was not lying at all. Like, how do you do that? But I actually got to see her work her magic with the personality she has. It's very robust. I'll just say that it's very robust. She's very flavorful. Um, yeah, so yeah, she's just being who she is, and they love it. They love it. The customers, they love it. So anyway, so I went to school. I started business school 2006, and I started. I got my associates in business administration and management. And was I still in nursing? No, I was still working at the institution at the time for the state of Virginia. I was working there um, on the psych ward, and I enjoyed it. And I went there while I went to school because I started seeing some signs. I started seeing signs of there's a way that businesses, especially large corporations, what they do is they have these certain things, these behaviors that they have before they start laying off and before they start closing the business down. And I started seeing some of those things because I had been laid off on a few jobs before that. And so I started seeing some of those signs, and I kept telling everybody, you may want to start having your pinky toe somewhere else because this place may not be here that long. Well, first of all, because it was a state facility and it was an institution, nobody believed that it would ever close. Um, but I was like, I'm seeing too many signs. So I went to school. I was like, I'm gonna make sure I'm ready. Oh, like I don't care. You can doubt all you want to, but sister girl right here, she finna be ready. And I'm glad I paid attention to that because a whole lot started happening. A lot started happening. So there were times where um, people would, well, the memos started coming in about phasing out some of the people who lived there in the institution and where they were going to put them. And everybody was still in disbelief, especially the ones who had been there working 25 to 30 years or more. They were just in disbelief. And I was like, mm-mm, I've seen this. I've seen this. I've been through this. And that's how I ended up working for the state again, because that's not the first time I ended up working for them. And so I was talking to my professors, and it was like, yeah, these are the things that happen. I said, yeah, those are the things I went through before when I was laid off before on some other jobs, which landed me back at the state. And so, yeah, they was like, well, they can be in disbelief all they want to. The signs do lead to these things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm with you on that. So, anyway, um, I graduated with my associates, went straight in. I didn't take a break. I went straight into doing my bachelor's. Well, I finished. When I finished, actually graduated before it was time to walk. I finished um, that February of the following year of 2007, and I didn't walk to get my diploma until that May. So I went straight into the bachelor's, and in the bachelor's, I got my bachelor's of business administration in management. In management, I think it's in management. It's been a while. It was in management, and then I finished that a little early too because I just be doing the most sometimes. um, I tend to not take a break. As I age, I now give myself breaks, but I at the time I just wasn't taking any breaks, and but that's just where I was mentally, and I just wanted to keep going. I'm like I'm on this wheel, and I do not want to get off, so I kept going, and I finished that early, and I did not walk until the May of 2000. Sure. I want to say 2009, something like that. But I finished in 2008. Yeah. I think that's the one I finished December 2008. And I didn't walk till um, May 2009. Now, when I started my master's right after, I was mostly done with my master's. And then in 2013 is when I started my business as Elegant Granny. I started my business. Um, 2 years prior to that, I was Elegant Granny, but I was an entertainer at the time. I think I told that in another video. I'm not exactly sure, but I may have to go through that again because I may not have told everything about that. But anyways, I did that. So in 2013, Elegant Granny became a registered business in my state and in my hometown. And so, yeah, and this month is the 11th year. So, Elegant Granny is 11 years. 13 as an entertainer, but 11 as a business. Um, yeah. So, anyways, happy birthday, Elegant Granny. She's 11 years old. Um, as a business, 13 as a poet. But yeah, I did that. And then 2014, that's when things changed. The change was I had been dating someone, and um, we ended up married. Yeah, I ended up getting married. So I I did not finish my master's at the time because I wanted to spend more time working on the relationship. And it was a beautiful thing. I loved it. We met as poets. We met. He was a poet. I was a poet. His poems were very short. They're more like haikus, but I loved them. They were very good, and he said so much with so few words, and that was the basis of our relationship, was the way we could manipulate words and airbenders, if you want to if you want to think of it that way. But yeah, that's what sparked our relationship. um, but anyway, fast forwarding, the relationship ended 5 years later. I got away from him. That was the one that I had to run away from. So in 2018, I got out of that relationship. 2019, I went back to complete my master's. And when I went back, I'm thinking I had maybe like 4 or 5 different courses. They said, no, you only have two to finish. But they said they've updated the accreditation for it. So now you have three. So I did all three at the same time. I'm just going to go ahead and just do it. Um, and so March, yeah, March 2019, I graduated. I finished my master's. I have a master's in business administration. The specialty is organizational management. Now, I did not walk until August of that year. And August of that year was also when I got back into public speaking, my favorite job. I knew I was going to have a speaking engagement. You know how you can feel something and it's just like it overtakes you and you can't shake it. And I remember telling my mother and my aunt, because they were the ones, they picked me up and took me. We had to travel 45 minutes to where the graduation was going to be held, the ceremony was going to be held. And I kept telling them, I said, I feel a speaking engagement coming. I don't know when it's going to happen. I think I'm going to meet someone there and we're going to talk and I'm going to end up being a speaker somewhere. And that's what happened. Yeah. When things come on you like that and it's your gut and you can't shake it, it doesn't matter if it's something good, if it's something not so good or something. Pay attention. Pay close attention to that, because that is a higher part of you that is alerting you. And you need to pay attention to that because you don't know what's about to happen. I'm so glad I paid attention to that because I was so open. I was so open. I was so ready to get back to doing that because I did not do that. Well, let me take that back. I only did it once while I was married, and I started a feminine energy group. And one of my friends, we developed a very good relationship, and we held the conference in South Carolina. I want to get back into doing that again because it was a success. I enjoyed it, they enjoyed it, and the women are looking for it to happen again. The lady who helped me host, she's ready to get back into it. So yeah, it may or may not happen this year, but it will definitely happen next year in 2025, because I have so much that I need to take care of this year. I'm not sure if I have what it takes to be committed to do that this year, but I definitely will have it on the table for next year. Now, if I can squeeze it in this year, beautiful. We will make that happen. Um, but yeah, it's it it depends on how things look by April, because I have so much on my plate right now between now in April, or actually May. Um, yeah, the first 5 months of this year. If I can stay on task with all of those things, then there is a highly likability of us having a feminine energy meet in South Carolina this year. I would love for that to happen, but it depends on me. It depends on how well I can get these other things done. I'm having to take more breaks now because I'm getting older and I am not about to wear myself out like I did when I was in my 30s and in my early 40s. Um, yeah, so that's just what it is. But anyway, we're going to see. So that's it for today. Talk to you later.